Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tapped In with Vera Lee Biz Solutions. I'm Fran Strickland, and I am here with my wonderful friend, Miss Amanda Craven from Not Just Coaching. And she is our guest today, and she is leading the conversation with us about our relationship with self. I'm in the space of working with small businesses in creating a profitability that's sustainable and helps generate the lifestyle that owners, founders had in mind when they started their businesses. But one thing is for sure, it really does take the individual and their own personal growth to realize that dream. And so, starting off 2025, as we reach for higher highs in 2025, thought it would be fantastic if we had someone to talk to us about ourselves, how we relate to ourselves. And so we have Amanda. Amanda, I am so delighted to see you. We did some great work last year in 2024, and I am
Yeah.
so happy to have you here on my platform today. So,
Oh,
Amanda, why don't you help us out a little bit? Just after I take care of some housekeeping things, and you'll kick off and share a little bit about yourself, and then we will get into the
okay.
topic.
Yeah.
For those of you who are joining, we have the chat box. If you have any questions, please feel free to put your questions in the chat or to make any comments, and I will endeavor to keep my eye on that chat so that we don't miss anything. So, if you will, Amanda, please take us away. Just tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do and how you happen to be at this point in your journey, your professional journey.
Okay. Thank you. And first of all, thank you so much for inviting me back, Fran. It's a real honour and always a joy to connect with you and to chat about all things personal and business. So my business is all about creating a safe space for leaders, entrepreneurs, and particularly, but not exclusively, women. That just seems to be the gender that I have gravitated towards.
Mhm.
And I give them that space to reflect on what has been, what is happening, and where they want to go, especially in relation to any emotional traumas that they've experienced in the past and or any toxic relationships with narcissistic people, for example, which can be personal relationships or professional relationships that impact us on so many levels. No matter what the arena of that toxicity, it impacts on us as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, and will affect our home life, our personal life, as well as our performance in our business. So
Mhm.
it's really important. I have a 5-step blueprint that I follow um,
Mhm.
very loosely in individualized programs, which can be a group program that I have running for women, the Empowered Woman, but in one-to-one programs as well. And the 5 steps that are incorporated are awareness um,
Mhm.
of what has happened, acceptance, healing,
Mhm.
and goal setting. So we need to incorporate all those elements in that work on ourselves. And today, your brilliant suggestion for a topic of just giving people a little bit of time to press pause, to sit and to reflect on themselves. And just
Mhm.
very briefly, my journey towards this point in time and being able to help so many people in this area is based on a lot of life history,
Mhm.
a lot of traumatic experiences, including early bereavement, having had cancer myself, and also having experienced toxic relationships.
Mhm.
this combined with my training in psychology, in hypnotherapy, and life coaching enables me to really deliver what my clients need in a bespoke way and to make sure that space is suitable for each person I've got in front of me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, Amanda, as you talked about your background and how you've come to this point in your professional evolution and in your business, I was also reflecting on how it's the landscape is so much different for people who are in the entrepreneurial space. There has been an explosion around mindset and those kinds of practices that increase mindfulness to help the effectiveness of people in their aspirations.
Mm.
And so certainly sometimes that can be a little bit high level because there's other things, as you've indicated, trauma or other experiences that are basically draining away the energy of
Mm.
individuals, and they're practicing mindfulness, they are doing mindset, and they just seem to just not be able to get a leg up. And so
Yeah.
that's where someone like you with your expertise has also the next tier of capability to help uncover what opportunities might exist.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Because mindfulness and other practices are really useful. But if there is a fundamental unhealed wound of some
Mhm.
sort, then we are not going to fully benefit, or perhaps not even benefit at all at that point, from practices that otherwise would be useful if there is something beneath that we haven't addressed. We can't just stuff things down and think that's okay, I'm putting it out of my mind and therefore it's dealt with. It doesn't work like that. We have to give ourselves time and we have to allow those past hurts, past events that have had an impact on us to rise to the surface so that we can work on them. And this is why I'm so in love with hypnotherapy, because it
Mhm.
enables us in the most gentle, beautiful way to go beneath the surface, beneath this conscious level of
Mhm.
talking and awareness, to work on those the root causes of whatever is going on in our day-to-day life, unwanted habits or ineffective leadership styles, or whatever it may be. It will be because of something that happened in our past. So using a therapy that isn't just a talking therapy, I think is a really impactful way, and it's it turbo boosts the work we do on ourselves. So it can, a few months of hypnotherapy can replace years of doing more traditional talking therapies if there is unresolved trauma there.
Fantastic. So for someone who is doing a self-assessment, and I think that particularly at the beginning of a new year, we always talk about making resolutions, and
Mm.
certain times of the year are big change opportunities. We say, oh, we're going to make some changes and we want to improve where we stand in whatever it is that we're focused on at the time. And so, some people will habitually do a self reflection. They'll be looking at where they are, where they want to be. And, they're inquiring, what is, why is, where can I go? Can you share with us, based upon, much of what you've already told us, how those insights, what are some fundamental ways that a person can do a self reflection to ascertain if perhaps they need to do a little bit more and more, uh, mindfulness or other mindset practices? What are
Yeah.
some fundamental things that they could look at that could give them insights into what else they might need to do?
Right, right. Yeah. And it is really important. I think we can get swept away with making New Year's resolutions, setting goals. And yeah, at the start of a new year is a great time to think about all of those things. Although I think the start of any week or the start of any day is also the perfect time. So
Mhm.
it's certainly not the only time. But rather than just bash off out of a sense of obligation 5 goals for the year, I think it's more important to break that down, or that exercise down, into just taking a few minutes a day to sit with a cup of tea or coffee and just reflect. Give ourselves time to be in the moment and not try and force things. Uh,
Mhm.
Actually, at the beginning of this year, I was feeling a little bit disconnected from what I was doing, and for a couple of days, I was worried that I'd kind of lost my passion, because my work is my passion. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, what does this mean? Am I not in the right place anymore? And I started to panic for a brief time. And then I just thought, no, you know that this is what you are about, what you do best. And I just took my foot off the gas and
Mhm.
gave myself a few days to just be with these feelings and experiences, and almost like bubbles rising up from the bottom of a glass to the top, or the bottom of a pond to the top. You just have to give them space to do their thing.
Mhm.
And without me forcing anything, or forcing myself to sit down and saying, come on, you've got to do this, you've got to create a to-do list, a list of goals, I sat back, and it just came back of its own accord, with a couple of ideas for pivoting a little bit in the work I do. I mentioned sort of pivoting towards working in the main with women, and that was something that just happened naturally. So for your leaders and entrepreneurs who are watching this podcast, I think the most important thing they can do, the best gift they can give themselves, is to just sit back. Maybe just think, maybe just look at the clouds through the window, maybe just enjoy drinking that cup of tea or coffee. And if they want to take notes of what's coming up for them, fine. If not, just take that space and allow things to recalibrate of their own accord. And they could sort of extend that activity to taking a walk around the block, a walk in a park or some woods, and give themselves some time to be with them and their thoughts, but don't think they have to achieve something with that time. I think that's a really important activity, and it can literally just be 5 minutes a day.
Mhm. Mm. Oh, wow. So what I heard you say is one, take the pressure off of yourself
Mm,
to have some particular outcome, but
yes.
appreciate having the time to just simply be quiet, be present with yourself, and just see what surfaces. Keep a
Mm,
pad of paper nearby so that you can capture some notes, getting close to nature, but really somewhat upsetting the routine
mm,
that might have existed, even the routine of how you actually do reflection, or even the routine of your day. And
yes.
I think something that really really is significant for me is that it doesn't have to be a marathon for hours in one sitting. It can be
Mm,
over multiple days and for short
yeah.
periods of time.
Yes, yeah,
That
absolutely. And that is more effective, to do things in small chunks, rather than, as say, block off a half day and think, right, I'm going to get the quarter 1 of 2025 nailed on Tuesday morning, or whatever it may be. Just chip away at it, because you also give yourself the chance to reflect in an organic way on what's coming up for you. But if you try to nail it all in one half day, then you're going to miss that opportunity for reflection and for tweaking things as they come up.
Wow. Some time ago, I actually did some work, some breath work.
Mm,
And I remember the experience that when I did it, I really went into a strong emotional state. I mean,
right.
almost to the point that I thought, what's going on here?
Yeah, a sort of trance experience.
Yes, right. And so as you were talking, I was thinking about what happens and what advice or insights can you give to people that when they go through this process and things start to surface, maybe things that they're pushed down that they never wanted to acknowledge that they
Mm,
might have experienced because of course there may be trauma and other wounds there.
mm.
Um, what suggestions can you give someone who is experiencing kind of that emotional jolt that they may get by what comes up?
Yeah.
Is it anything that can help mitigate the risk of abandoning that reflection? So please
Mm.
share some insights there.
Yeah, yeah, sure. And I think it's worth highlighting at this point that leaders and entrepreneurs are under a lot of pressure to present a certain face to the world. If they're a leader, their team needs them to be strong and relies on them. If they're an entrepreneur, they need their suppliers and their collaborators to have faith in them and see them as this strong person who knows where they're going. And that can put a lot of pressure on somebody who, on the inside, is really struggling with something. So, as we start to do more reflective uh, exercises, then stuff may come up, and it can make it harder because inside you're feeling very confused and maybe weak, but you're putting this pressure on yourself to perform to the outside world. So it's important to acknowledge that, and yeah, we all have to put our game face on, of course, for days when we're not feeling it. But behind the scenes, I think it's really important for the person to start journaling. And journaling is just a fancy way of saying making notes. It doesn't have to be in a special leather bound, very expensive notebook, but just anything can be on a notes app on your phone. Just start noticing your feelings and writing them down. And this can be really good to do before bed, because when we have things that we are suppressing, past traumatic experiences or difficult experiences, emotional upset, then this tends to rise to the front as we're trying to get off to sleep, and certainly can weave itself into our dreams and disturb our sleep. So if you get into the habit of getting into bed and then just giving yourself 5 or 10 minutes, again, doesn't need to be long or fancy, to just empty your mind. I call it the non-fancy term of having a brain dump. Some people might, still call it journaling. Whatever you want to call it, you are just getting things out of your head, out of your mind, and onto paper. And by doing this, you will become more aware of what is going on. And then you're in a position to listen to yourself, listen to your gut feeling. Is this something that you can work through? Maybe get a self help book, maybe watch some YouTube videos that is going to help you work through. Or is this something deeper? And do you feel you need to work with somebody? And be honest with yourself if at that point you realize that you can't do it alone, and many people can't, at least for part of their healing journey. They do need a professional, a helping hand, somebody to reach in and support them. Then reach out to a professional. But first of all, give yourself that time to see what's coming up. And if you're guided by that, that will help you in choosing a professional who is right for you, because you will know what it is or you will have a better idea of what it is you need to work through.
Mm, mm. Wow. So the opportunity is, and as you laid out kind of your approach with this awareness, is leveraging all these opportunities to first surface
Mm,
what's there,
yeah.
to allow yourself to be vulnerable in front of yourself,
Yes.
right? To get it all out, to don't carry it,
Mm,
because sometimes in the stuffing down we just carry it,
yes. Yeah.
and and then that allows you then to maybe step back more objectively and see what's there.
Yeah, yeah,
See
and
what's there.
see
Yeah.
what you need to do about it, and our gut feeling will always be our best guide, and we will know if we feel this is too much for us to work through alone. Self-help books and online videos can only take us so far. They can be really useful, but
Hmm.
we know if this is too much and we need somebody to step in, to walk by our side, and to guide us and to help us on that healing process, so that when we come back to our desk, our business, our leadership roles, that we are feeling that authentic
Hmm.
strength.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful process that when we heal, we create a strength and a resilience within us that will just enable us to get to that next level quite naturally without forcing anything.
Mm. Which leads me counter to my last question. Before we start to wrap up, we have just a few minutes to wrap up after this. But as as we've talked through kind of somewhat the experience of realizing that something is just a little out of balance.
Mm,
On the other side of the coin, what can we observe that might tell us we are we are okay in how we are relating to ourselves, and so then it's a matter of how do we sustain it or build off of it? What
mm,
can you look for that would say, okay, you're in a good place, how do you continue to go forward?
mm.
What insights can you share about how can we tell if we're doing uh, okay?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just mentioned checking in with your gut feeling. And that is something that I sort of bang on about an awful lot, because I think for many of us, the noise of modern life, the noise and the busyness of our professional life means that we quite often override our gut feeling. And we can know that we are in the right place, that we're doing okay, when we feel that alignment, when what we're doing and what we're saying is in alignment with our core values and our beliefs. And we just have this sense of inner calm that we're doing okay. And when we're in that place, in that personal space, we can accept when we have a bad day, when we could have done better, and experiences that we can learn from. And we're better positioned to notice the the wins, small and big, and to feel proud of whatever we've achieved, whether it was doing a good presentation that clearly had an impact on the audience, or whether it was just getting through a day when we really didn't feel it when we woke up. We maybe had a heavy cold and all the rest of it, but we got through, and we achieved some really useful things during that day. So it can be anything, small or big, but when we are noticing our achievements, when we've got that fire in our belly and we feel excited about what's coming up in our business, then they are signs that we're doing okay, we're in the right place. And that core resilience that's there will enable us to weather little storms as they come along. So
Mm.
to maintain that, the second part of your question, I think self-care is really important, and
Mhm.
it's often something that is neglected by busy entrepreneurs and leaders because we just want to get stuff done, and quite often we are extremely driven, so we really want to do stuff. It's not that we feel obliged to, we're just so excited about the stuff we do. But even when it's our passion, we still need to step back and practice self-care on a regular basis. And as I've already said, doing this, as well as any sort of exercise, in small chunks, even 5 or 10 minutes a day, where you are just doing something for yourself. It might be having a soak in the bathtub. It might be reading a book that you enjoy that has nothing to do with any other part of your life. It's just for you. It might be doing some sport or some activity that you love, walking in nature. It can be anything at all. It can be a spa day, a spa weekend. Of course, if you've got the budget, you throw as much money as you want to at your self-care. But it can just be as simple as, you know, throwing a few products into your bath and just sitting back listening to some nice music. But I think you put it really beautifully before, Fran, when you were saying that it's important to interrupt that cycle and the circling of stuff, of busyness, of tasks, of to-do lists that we have in our day, and self-care practices can do that and continue building and strengthening that resilience that we need to just keep moving forward.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, Amanda, as much as I would like to keep talking, we are just a few minutes away from the conclusion of our conversation today. I want to take the moment to thank you once again for joining us. And now I would like for you to share with the group, if people want to talk more and they want to talk with someone, how
Mm.
can they get in touch with you uh, to 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 explore, their situation with you?
Right. Okay. Well, nice and easy. My business is not just coaching. My website is notjustcoaching.com. So that would be a good place to start. But I also do have a free guide that I would like to offer any of your audience, Fran, and it will help people to work out where they are on a healing journey. It sort of covers the 5 steps that I mentioned, the blueprint to healing. So
Mhm.
people are guided through observing their own awareness, acceptance of what has gone on, which is something you mentioned, which when you were talking a few moments ago, you were actually summarizing quite naturally the steps of this blueprint. So I thought that was amazing. You know, being aware, accepting that this is where we are, finding ways of healing, setting goals to get you forward looking once that healing has begun or is well underway, and then
Mhm.
growing from that. And then this is a cycle that we can go through. So this guide, I'm going to give you the link for that. I think if are you able to put that underneath the video recording?
Yes, if you will, Amanda, please send that to my LinkedIn address.
Mm.
And then when I do the repost, I will include that link for anyone who would like to access it.
Yes.
That will be fantastic. That is a wonderful, wonderful gift to share with the group and with the audience. And sincerely, really, really appreciate your time. I've learned a lot. I know that I'm going to be better for the time that I spent with you. And of course,
Yeah.
in keeping with what we have been trying to do here on Tapped In with Verily Biz Solutions, which is to help leaders, owners, founders, and entrepreneurs realize success professionally and personally. Certainly, the time with you was well spent today. So,
Thank you so much, Fran. It's a joy, as always, to talk with you and to share mutual insights.
yes, yes. Such a pleasure. So glad to see you and to have you. And with that, everyone, thank you for all who've joined. I look forward to seeing you soon. And that is the end of our stream today. Please take care. Love you all and see you next time.
Thank you. Best wishes to everybody.